think that risk taking is the foundation of success. Any successful person that you look at all around the world have all taken risks. They've all taken the time to think and process all the different risks that they could take, all the different opportunities that they have, and these risks end up helping them to become more successful. They help them to earn money, help them to learn, and help them to grow as a human being. Now, risks are by far one of the most important things in mankind. Now, you might not believe it, but we actually take risks every single day in almost every single thing that we do. Now, some risks are a lot less evident than others. Let's start off by giving some nice, easy risks. So, me simply walking across this floor right here has a little bit of risk to it. Not enough to make a huge difference, but there is a little bit. Like, for example, I can slip and fall or trip over the carpet. Now, that little risk, most likely nothing will happen to me because it's such a small chance of me actually falling, but the risk is still there. Now, unfortunately, these risks have become so routine and so comfortable with us and our brain that we don't actually learn from them unless we get hurt. So let's say I'm walking and I stub my toe. Well, I know next time to walk a little bit farther away from whatever I stubbed my toe on. And in that case, even though it's a very small risk, we still learned a little bit. So, what is a risk? A risk is taking the act or fact of doing something that involves danger or risk in order to achieve a goal. So basically, the point of a risk is sacrificing something to gain something else. So, it could be that you have a fear of heights or you have a fear of spiders, I don't know. So a risk for those two things could be maybe killing a spider and, figuring out that it's way smaller than you and it's not going to do that much. You can kill it easily. Or for heights, going on a roller coaster, going skydiving, trying something new, that involves beating your fear or trying to overcome it. Now, it may not work every time, and being a risk taker, you can't be scared of failure. One of the risks that I actually had to take when I was younger involved the Leviathan, and you see, this was the biggest roller coaster at Canada's Wonderland, and all my friends would go on it. They'd have a blast, and I would just be standing there, looking up at this ride, and it's a good 300 feet in the air, and I'm thinking to myself, holy, that's huge. I don't want these butterflies in my stomach. I don't want anything going on. Like, I'm not ready to drop from 300 feet in the air. And, until that day where I went on this ride, I never knew that I actually like heights. I like butterflies. I like the feeling of going down. And to think of myself before that, who would think that they would like those kind of things? But I never knew until I took the risk. So risks, they not only can guide us and help us to be more successful, but they can help us overcome the things that we never thought we can do. And the more we learn about ourselves, the easier it is to find new pathways in life, to find the correct job that you love. It just helps in every way. I've divided the risks, the zone of risks into 3 sections. So in the first section, we have the no control zone, which is kind of chaotic. It's a zone with not a lot of routine and comfort, and just basically risking everything all the time. So, it's not really safe. You're not gonna get along with the cops well. You're probably not following the law. You don't have a job. You're just not doing things properly, and you're making bad decisions in life. And then there's the complete opposite side of that, and there's the routine and comfort side, where you have a nice organized life. You have routine. You're used to doing the same things over and over again. And although the routine and comfort zone may seem a lot better, both of these zones are actually very bad for us as human beings, because through these zones, we're not learning that much. Like, first of all, this zone with lots of risk, we are learning, but it's so dangerous and it's so like unpredictable that anything could happen. And if that's the kind of life that you want, the adventurous criminal kind of life, then I mean, by all means. But for my suggestions, I'd say to stay in the middle between both of those. And with a comfortable life, you got the same routine every day. Like I said before, if as I'm walking along the floor every single day of my life, I'm not learning everything. Like I'm not learning anything. I'm just walking until that day that I stub my toe because I go too close to the edge. I don't realize until that day that I'm not learning anything. And then as soon as I stub my toe, I know that I have to move away. But that is because I took the risk of going too close to the wall. So I think that my example shows a little bit how my life is in between, because I'm used to routine, I'm used to comfort. I do the same thing almost every week: soccer practice, homework, school sports, and I try my best to maintain grades. And then every once in a while I like to overcome a couple fears. Like last year was heights, and I played a couple new sports for the first time, and I just realized now that I actually like the game lacrosse, and last year I hated it. So new things that I'm learning all the time. Now I have a quote from Muhammad Ali, and he believes that he who is not courageous enough to take risks will accomplish nothing in his life. Now, I totally agree with this, and I think this quote is important because he's basically saying again what I said, how if you don't take risks, you're not going to be successful and learn. And taking risks are so important that without taking risks, your life will be empty. Maybe you can live that comfortable life that we talked about earlier, but like in the end, you're not going to learn anything new. You're not going to have anything new to pass on. You're not going to experience anything. You're not going to love anyone. Like, taking a risk has to do with all of those things. In the novel that I read, The 10th Chamber, the whole book was based off of a few archaeologists taking risks to get from one place to another after many murders and kills. They risked their lives to continue searching and exploring a cave. Now, this cave is actually just a random cave I found on Google Images, but it works for the scene because I don't know what the actual cave looks like. So, in the novel, these two archaeologists find that two people who explored the cave actually got murdered, and risking their own lives for the monumental discovery of this cave, they decided they want to go check it out for themselves. Now, this is the first risk that led to the entire story. So if they would not have taken that risk, then nothing after that would have happened. There would have been no money involved, and they wouldn't have become rich. They wouldn't have found anything. They wouldn't have found all the 30,000-year-old paintings that are huge in the art world, and then they would have never experienced this drink either. Now, this was another risk actually taken by a Homo sapien 30,000 years ago in the novel, and he actually invented this juice right here for a medical treatment in which you put on a cut or a bruise to heal it up. And it wasn't really thought of as a drink until a little boy accidentally drank it and he died from it. So being stronger and being the leader of the clan, he wanted to find out what it was. His name was Tal. And so he drank this liquid, not knowing anything, not knowing what was going to happen, not knowing if he might die, and the clan was depending on him. So he was basically risking his life and his clan just to see what this drink did. And his risk actually paid off. This drink prolonged his life, and it allowed him to continue even for I'd say a good 300 more years than he expected. So my novel was purely based off of the benefits of risk taking. Um, After this presentation, I strongly encourage that you guys listen to what I have to say and take risks. Risks are only going to better your life. Now, obviously, there's some bad risks and good risks, but without risks in general, you cannot overcome fears, and you'll never be able to know things that you like and know things that you never tried before just because you don't feel like trying it. Always try and take a risk and make a difference. You know, if you don't take a risk, you could save a life. Like, you want to take risks as much as possible, and make sure that they're good ones and they're safe, because like I also mentioned before, the chaotic risks every day, you may be learning, but they can be dangerous and they won't be safe for you.